All right, class. So for this little project we're doing to create a little typewriter with our screen and a potentiometer, we're going to need our 16 by 2 LCD with the I2C backpack that we have here, and our Arduino board, jumper wires, a button, and that potentiometer. So that's just this potentiometer. I think it's the 10K we had before. And this little button we've used before. On the back of this button, if you can see, we have two little lines. These are connected in this direction. These are connected in this direction. So this leg is connected to this leg. So when this gets pressed down, the connection between those two legs go. All right. So I just wanted to point that out. So the quick wiring of this is I'm going to probably put it on the screen, but we need to wire up our screen first. But typically, let's just go back and take a step back here. We usually have to power, when we use our breadboard, we're going to power some items with that. So we end up using these rails. Let's see if I can get this to focus down here. Anyways, so let's back up and let's actually just power those rails because we already know we're going to have to use those. So I'm going to grab some jumper wires here. I'm going to stick them in the 5 volts power here. So there's the 5 volts there that I'm sticking it in. And then I'm going to go ahead and bend that over and stick that into my power rail, my positive power rail. All right, I'm going to stick that right there, get that going. And then I'm going to take a different colored wire. I'm going to go into the ground next to that power, and I'm going to stick it into my negative rail, just like that. So we have our power and ground there, you can see, and we have them going into our rails. Simple as that. Then with this I2C backpack, we have those 4 prongs, and we have ground, VCC, SDA, and SCL. We're going to end up taking some wires here. 2 of these wires have to go to ground and positive, and so we'll grab that from our power rail, and so that would be the ground and the VCC. I'm going to go like that and grab those 2 with some jumper wires. And I'm going to say, okay, VCC is white on this one. So I'm going to go like this and stick those right into our power rail here. All right, so I've got power to my LCD, and now I need to do the data on those other 2 pins. And SDA is going to be pin, I'm going to take these 2, remove that one, and I'm going to do SDA and SCL. SDA, I'm going to plug into our analog pin 4, and SCL, I'm going to plug into analog pin 5. So I'm going to go like that, and I'm going to stick those 2 into analog pin 4 and 5, double checking that the yellow goes to SDA, so that's pin 4 and 5. So I'm going to stick those right in our analog pins, 4 and 5. And now we have a correct wiring for our LCD on this project. The next thing I'm going to do here is we have a button, and we're going to stick that in with these pins going this way so I can access those pins. So I'm going to stick that right in our breadboard right here. And remember, on our breadboard, we have these ones going this way and these ones going this way on our breadboard. So I'm going to grab 2 wires and wire that in. One of these legs has to go to D1, and the other one's going to go to ground so that we can ground out that button and send a signal. So we're just going to end up, I'm going to grab 2 wires right here. Actually, you know what? Where did I throw that little one? One of these legs off of this, I'm going to stick right here. And I'm going to go and put that directly in. Oops, not that. I need this. I need this guy. And I need to stick that right into ground. In fact, I'm going to move these just down a little bit. Just like that. I'm going to go ground with one of those legs. There we go. And then I'm going to take one of these other legs, and I'm going to stick that into D2. And I need a longer wire here. Give me 2 seconds as I strip the ends of this wire. And I'm going to stick that into D2. So our little button goes, one leg of our button goes to ground on our ground rail, and the other leg of our button goes to our board, And we're going all the way over to D2. D0, D1, D2. All right, so we got both of those hooked up. And now we have D2 to our button to ground. All right, and so then our next item that we have to, final item for this whole entire circuit and project, is going to be our potentiometer. And if we remember correctly, we just need to power this on one leg, the outer leg, and ground the other outer leg. And our center leg is our wiper. And that is going to be our signal wire. And so that'll end up going to analog 0. And so just like we've done before, we're going to stick that in right there. And I'm going to go on the back side. I'm going to grab a power wire, a negative wire, and a signal wire. And so my long one, I'm actually going to go over here and stick this over here because I'm a little closer. You might be able to see it better if I put it over here. So my middle, which is right here, I'm going to stick that right in that center lead on that. I'm going to go all the way over to analog 0. Stretch that all the way over to analog 0. There we go. Just like that. So we have our middle pin going to analog 0. And then I'm going to take 2 wires. I'm going to stick, doesn't matter which side, I'm going to stick one side is going to be negative. Just like this. And that's going to go to a negative on the bus, the stuff we already put negative and positive. And then I'm going to take another wire and I'm going to go positive 5 volts from that bus, from the rails there. Oops, sorry about the camera there. And I'm going to stick that in the other leg. And there we go. So we have our screen wired up. It looks a little bit like a wired mess, but if you follow along, we have our screen going to power and our screen going to data on 4 and 5 on analog. We have our button going all the way to digital 1 or digital 2, and we have that grounded on the other side of our button here. And then we have our potentiometer. And on the potentiometer, we have the 2 outer pins, and those are a positive and a negative. And then we have the center pin, and that goes all the way over to analog 0. And so that's our basic little circuit. I'll see if I can get you a little closer here. You might be able to see it better. And so we just have a basic circuit, and that should be good to go. So once we get that all wired up, we'll be able to use this knob and this button and scroll through letters and all the characters which we'll establish, and then we'll be able to type with that button. So we'll be able to scroll, type using that button. So I'm going to end up pausing here, and we'll have the next video on the code.